This next activity is called Two Truths and a Lie, and it comes from the On a Knife Edge toolkit. It's interesting because I quite often don't call it Two Truths and a Lie because there's different ways you can run it and adapt the activity itself. But what you're basically doing is you're handing out a bunch of cards to 3 or 4 subgroups of people that you've chosen from the big group. Normally it's quite good to split up the group with males and females if you have the opportunity to do that. Very much the objectives of the activity is very much around raising awareness around risks and consequences. That's very much what it's about. And you'll be amazed at how many young people don't actually know what happens to them if they get stopped with a knife. You'll be amazed with how many young people don't actually know what happens to them if they're 14 years old and they get caught with drugs on them, and what the impact can have for them in the future. So I guess that's basically what we're doing with this activity, and try and keep it as flowing as possible if you can. But yeah, that's more or less what we're doing. What I'd like to do is just chuck that away for 2 seconds. I'm going to give you some cards, alright? So the cards I'm going to give you are fluorescent cards and they've got something written on them. Now the thing that's written on them is either true or false. It's up to you, you need to work it out in your wee group. So I'm going to give you 2 cards, I'm going to give you guys 2 cards, and I'm going to give you guys 2 cards. You're going to have 3 minutes and 22 seconds, and in that 3 minutes and 22 seconds, what you need to do is you need to you either agree or disagree whether they're true or false. You have to work out which is true, which is false. Okay, so the first one.
So you can buy a knife at the age of 16.
You at a fishing shop.
Is it?
You can date in a fishing shop.
Right, so that's true. Right. You are more likely to be knifed by a knife of your. If you carry one.
That's carry a knife, you get.
You're more likely to get what?
Because then more people are going to run to you with a knife.
If you want, no, it's a lovely knife, diving knife or something.
Live with a knife, die with a knife.
Because if you think about it, if they all knew and I was fighting with them, they knew I ran up to them with a gun before, like a knife before, they would all get, like, obviously they think, I'll take a knife.
He's going to have a good distance,
so obviously.
So you're more likely to be killed if you carry a knife. This is what this is saying.
You'll get about a 75% more chance if you carry one.
There are safe areas in the body you can be stabbed.
There is.
With your leg. Right, so where's your safe place?
I would say.
Your ear?
If you were to stab me here, that'd be cool,
I want to know what you think. Children's
They do have powers, but they don't use them.
16. You think it's true? Yeah. What does it depend on, Gary?
You keep on getting into trouble.
So if you had like a record in your age of 15 and a half, for example, right? So you start a clean criminal record?
It depends, actually. How many charges you got?
So, was it all petty stuff? Was it petty stuff?
No.
Or was
Some of what I see.
some serious stuff soon? So, what we're asking here, do you think
Weighed 3 times. A screwdriver, van
Right.
theft,
So,
firearms.
so do you think that's going to be still in your record when you come 16?
Aye.
You did.
So you think when you're 18 you'll have that on your record still? So do you think if I was going to employ you in my company when you're 21, do you think the stuff you did when you were 14 I'll find out about?
Probably,
Well, I'm asking the question. I know the answer to the question, but I'm asking you the question.
Okay. Do you think that?
I heard it gets white in this 21 as well.
21, so 16 and 21. What happens when you're 28? Is it wiped again?
No, but after that, I'm sure it gets wiped to 21. Because I was talking about in case I got done with something, then I'd ruin my career.
So what happens if you murder somebody at 14?
You're getting done, you're secure, aren't you?
Be wiped out.
Carrying a knife, is that what will only get you
Police
a police caution?
What's that mean?
Carrying a knife, if you get caught carrying a knife, You'll only get your police caution.
I was lucky. See the day I got caught with meat cleaver. Next morning, it was at 1 o'clock, it was Valentine's.
But when you were caught with what?
Meat cleaver.
The meat cleaver.
Size was. I got caught, and if I was doing supervision, I was off to secure or something.
You were off to secure, and did you
They
get
referred it back
is
to
that what happened?
No, they referred it back to the panel, and the panel referred it back to the court. And I was up yesterday, and I've got my actual court date, it's the 4th of July.
Right, so you're still waiting to go up for you still don't know about this yet, obviously.
The only thing I know is
Carrying a
this is
knife.
against me.
You don't know the consequences of carrying a knife yet, because you're still to go up to.
I've listened to a lot of the groups there. I sat in every single one of them, and I listened to what you were saying. I know for a fact that some of you know what you're talking about, some of you don't know what you're talking about. The sad thing to me is these things you should know a lot more about, because you're 14, 15 years old, 16 years old, and it's a crucial time in your life just now. Now, if you did get caught for carrying a knife or taking drugs or doing whatever you're doing, you don't actually know what the outcome of that will be. You don't know how detrimental. Do you know what the word detrimental means? You don't know how much of a negative influence that could have on your lives in 5 or 10 years' time. There's certain things here I'm quite alarmed about, actually, how little you know about it, considering how involved you are in it. So I'm going to take this time to clear up some stuff. That's all right, and tell you a bit about what actually happens. You're more likely to be injured by a knife if you carry one. True or false?
False.
True.
Had a couple, 3 falsies in my group. 2 falsies.
So what we're saying here is, if you carry a knife, basically, you're going to be much more likely to be involved in knife crime, aren't you?
What, does it say knife crime? It
No.
just says
You're
you're
more
more likely
likely
to
to
stab.
be injured by a knife
That's knife crime.
if you carry one.
I said
Aye, but
that.
still,
can hurt yourself, but
anybody
still
can
hurt
stab
yourself.
you. Anybody can stab you.
Anyone can stab you, yeah. So basically what we're saying, if you carry a knife, you're more likely to get injured by a knife. Yeah. So basically, you're more likely to be involved in gang culture behaviour, knife crime in some sort of way, chopping things up, cutting your finger off, possibly. So actually, you're much more at risk of being injured by a knife if you carry one. That is true, guys. Right? Most of you knew that. You can legally buy a knife at 16. Can you go right now and buy a knife?
Aye.
No, because he's not 16.
No,
Get a job
it's
in.
Somebody's got in for this.
The same as you get boozed on a Friday.
Aye.
I know, that's what I'm saying to you. Same as you get boozed on a Friday.
Aye.
So someone can buy you a knife easily. You think, what are the
Aye,
chances,
well.
percentage-wise, what do you think the chances of you being able to get a knife
As
today?
soon as you see a wee
Aye,
junkie,
well,
Not from a house, not from your house.
Buy a
Or,
knife, get somebody who buys a knife.
No, about 50.
No, 100%.
Because it's
you'd be able to get a knife today if you wanted to.
a knife is more dangerous than drinks, so also.
Okay.
No, but like going to the shop and buying one, not getting in your kitchen.
Aye.
I could get somebody to rent a shop for me and get a knife.
You could definitely today.
100%.
You have to be 18 years old now to buy a knife. That was a new law that came out about 1.5 years ago. Alright, so it's just out. So if you were to go buy a knife today, you wouldn't be able to buy one unless you showed ID and said you were 18. There's some supermarkets, some places that sell kitchen knives and stuff.
see, I was thinking that as well, you could just go in and steal one.
Easy. Boy, my shield done it.
You could.
What?
You can just go in and steal one or stick it down your boot or something.
Robin Eyes.
So as you can see by just watching the video, the interesting thing about this activity, and actually it's quite sad, is the young people in the video were not aware of the majority of this stuff. And as I say, it's called Truths and Lies, 2 Truths and a Lie. But the cards that I gave the young people, from my experience, and as you can see by watching the video, they had quite intense discussions about some of the statements that we rose and that we spoke about in the Truths and Lies. And as you can see at the end, right at the end, when I started to lay out the cards and I started to lay out which ones were true and which ones were lies, the young people were amazed. They didn't have a clue on the majority of that stuff. So that's why I think this activity is very, very important to do with young people. Obviously the sad thing is a lot of these young people were quite heavily involved in this stuff. So actually maybe if it happened a couple of years before, it would be a bit different.